Some believe this blood type shouldn't exist. It's called Rh negative. Millions carry it today. Some traced it to a lost civilization. Others said it wasn't fully human. Some even looked beyond Earth. Scientists call it a genetic mutation. Yet the mystery never went away. So where did Rh negative blood really come from?
Suggest that Rh negative blood might not just be to an alien origin. It could actually be protected us from something. What if Rh negative individuals aren't a mutation, but a preserved bloodline, one that engineered for survival? Now, evidence has surfaced linking Rh negative blood to heightened resistance against certain viruses and diseases, including outbreaks like Ebola and even emerging threats that we haven't even faced yet. What if the real reason the blood type isn't just extraterrestrial ancestry, but something far more disturbing? What if the Rh negative blood was designed to withstand biological dangers, ones we haven't even fully understand? Here's the questions that should keep you up at night. What if the Rh negative bloodline is being protected, tracked, and even monitored because it holds the key to surviving some future big event? Or are we looking at ancient defense mechanism engineered long ago for the purpose that we're only now beginning to comprehend?
We've talked about that before with Rh negative versus Rh positive. You have Rh negative, which is copper-based blood, and then you have Rh positive, which is iron-based blood. And this is where you get into the whole thing with different blood types. They do different things. You have a magnetic blood, Rh positive, and you have an electrically conductive blood, Rh negative. And this is why sometimes when people are using certain types of devices or walking underneath light bulbs, they start to turn off because the blood type is enhancing their aura, which is then causing malfunctions to happen with technology. It's interesting. Blue bloods, red bloods. Fascinating thing to look into. The differences. One is a cold animal and one is a hot animal. And you got fish, usually blue bloods. You get into crabs and octopuses and all these things with blue bloods. Then you get into warm-blooded, red-blooded, which is when you're getting into things like birds and tigers and all these different things. But it's very fascinating when you get into blood types. And depending on whatever blood type you are. That's why they don't really teach people about blood types, I realize, because that connects people deeper.
What's interesting is this same place where they're from, where they find the blood type, they speak a dialect and a language that matches and originates from nothing around Europe.
Yeah.
So the theory is going, are they human/alien hybrids?
Oh.
Are they different humans, right? Because why do they have a different blood type? And also, one of the interesting traits of people with Rh negative blood type is they have red hair. And as we know, red hair is a mutation. Like it's something very, very rare. Like you don't really find that anywhere. Now it gets even deeper, right?
Okay.
So the theory goes even more that they're not aliens, but they're actually, remember in the book of Enoch, they talked about fallen angels?
Yeah.
So in the book of Enoch, there's fallen angels and they gave birth to Nephilim.
Rh negative blood, the alien bloodline. 85% of humans have Rh positive blood, but the remaining 15%, they're different. They're Rh negative, and no one knows exactly why. Here's the science. Rh stands for rhesus, a protein found on red blood cells. If you don't have it, you're Rh negative. That alone wouldn't be strange, except Rh negative mothers can reject their own unborn babies if the child is Rh positive. Their bodies treat them like invaders. But it gets weirder. Rh negative is most common in Europe, especially among the Basque people of Spain and France, a population with no known ancestors. Some scientists believe Rh negative didn't come from typical human evolution. Theories range from an ancient mutation, a lost hominin species, or even off-world origins. Yes, some claim Rh negative is the mark of a non-human lineage, linked to heightened intuition, lower body temperature, and rare psychic abilities. And guess what? Type B blood appears more frequently in Rh negative individuals, as if it's not just a blood type, but a genetic outlier. So ask yourself, is your blood just biology, or a message written in your DNA.
RH negative or RH positive, so that's showing you the different blood types as well.
Yeah. So before the intervention of aliens with the Africans, every blood type was positive. And then when they mixed in, you started to get the RH negative. Until this day, you can go and check people's DNA and they tied back to the negatives, or the RH negative is actually extraterrestrial DNA.
Does RH negative blood contain alien DNA? That's a yes. Thank you.
RH negative blood is weird. It shouldn't seem as unusual as it is, but here we are. Here's why. Most people in the world are RH positive, meaning their red blood cells have what's called an RH factor, or a protein on its surface. But around 15% of the people in the world do not have that protein at all. It just doesn't exist. They're RH negative. Now, on its own, it just seems like simple human biology, but somewhere along the way, RH negative blood became one of the biggest rabbit holes in UFO lore or the world of high strangeness. You'll hear people claim that RH negative individuals are more intuitive, or more likely to have unusual experiences, or even more likely to report UFO encounters. Some take it much further and suggest there's a non-human connection to all of this. But I can't help wonder, like, why has this idea stuck around for so long? It's dating all the way back to the 1940s or so. Is it just people connecting dots that aren't really there? Or is there something about this small genetic difference that we really don't even fully understand yet? I've gone down this rabbit hole more than once, and every time I come away with more questions than I do answers. There will be more videos about this coming soon. So I'm curious, have you ever gone down the RH negative blood rabbit hole? And if you are RH negative yourself, have you had an experience that made you stop and wonder, it was a little bit weird? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear from you, and follow the UAP pod for more.
People in the ancient alien sphere, or biblical sphere, or reptilian sphere, whatever you want to say, will say and point to the fact that no one, not even scientists, can tell us where it comes from. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that if you have a belief system in creation and a divine entity, that something integrated with 15% of the entire global population to create this. I think it's possible. Now, do I think that everybody with this RH negative blood type has some sort of superhuman powers, or they're connected to something someone else isn't? I don't know. I don't think everyone with the RH negative blood type is privy to this. I know plenty of people who have told me, I don't have anything happen. I have RH negative. I know the risk with it. I know the pregnancy risk, and I know how to operate around it. It's science. Agree. I do agree with them on that. I think that sometimes we can get so lost in this, I've got Nephilim blood. And to that point, I think there's a part of people who like to think that they have Nephilim blood in them. It makes them feel special, especially if they don't feel special. And if they're having paranormal occurrences around them, they feel really special. Even if it's negative things happening, they feel special because of it. Now, are these blood types connected to these things? I know there's been talk of certain people with certain blood types, RH negative being one of them, that are taken by extraterrestrials, and I do it with quotations, these Nephilim meat sacks, as I like to call them, to create offspring for these fallen entities. It's a possibility. And maybe the blood type makes it easier for that. Because if it does come from a Nephilim origin, it could be that the person that has it, a female vessel, would be able to gestate a Nephilim hybrid easier. And I've heard the argument, if we're even going to give the possibility of Nephilim, we have to give the possibility to the rest of it too in the theory realm. So I'm not going to say that it's not possible. And I've heard women that have dealt with these abductions, and a lot of them have this particular blood type. So there is the argument.
This video is for entertainment purposes only. So I've been asked this question numerous times. Is RH negative blood tied somehow to the Nephilim? Here's what we know. Here's what I know. And look, folks, I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. But I've been in this field ufology for decades, at least 30 years. And before I was a Christian, now we're talking 45 years ago, I was immersed in the New Age. I believe that these were our so-called space brothers. But getting on track, now get this. A lot of abductees turn out to be Rh negative. But what does that mean? That doesn't mean that they're Nephilim. What it might mean is this is conjecture, that somehow these entities are able to produce hybrids, mixing of the seed, Genesis 3:15, Daniel 2:43, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, they will not cleave to them. This is where we are right now, Daniel 2:43, read it and weep. But is it possible that Rh negative people are easier to create a hybrid with? That's my take. I am Elohim Marzulli.
So if you're type O or O negative, and you're in the wilderness camping alone in UFO hotspots, you might disappear and never come back. That's, yeah.
It's a creepy thought.
Yeah, it is kind of.
So, okay, they're consuming bovine blood because of the close genetic resemblance to human blood.
I believe what they're doing is because these days they can't just demand, okay, we need 200 people's worth of blood. You know, they can't go to the Mayas or the Aztecs anymore and say, give us blood.
Right.
You know, in exchange for favors. They can't do that en masse anymore. I think what happened was maybe they were being over-harvested at the time, back when the Mayans just abandoned their cities overnight. That could be because they were being over-harvested and they freaked them out, and the blood covenant wasn't worth the exchange anymore. So they abandoned these cities that they were inspired to create. Just a theory.
It's wild.
Right. It is like, wild.
It's you know, you mentioned this too last night, but it's the closest thing to like vampiric folklore that we have.
Right. Well, they can't be in sunlight. They have very thin skin with a dense capillary bed right under this translucent skin. They would burn horribly in sunlight. So you'll never see a tall gray out in the sunshine. The short grays, the little worker bees, they have a little bit of padding under their skin, a little bit of subcutaneous fat. They have the ability to be in sunlight for short periods, not as long as you or I could.
Like a familiar.
Yeah, but they're able to tolerate our biosphere better, and I think they're engineered
that way
in order to do the home invasions and take people like me out of my bed.
Let's talk about the Basque people. They have an interesting blood type known as our Rh negative. This means that you do not have the Rh protein in your red blood cells, like those who have the Rh positive. So there's all sorts of conspiracy, all sorts of studies done by scientists and research on why these group of people are very fascinating because of their DNA. Their lineage can be traced back to ancient civilizations such as Atlantis. Basque region is located between France and Spain. They have their own culture, maybe their own dialect of language as well. Only about 15% of the world's population have Rh negative blood type. When it comes to spirituality, they are unique is because their blood type can be traced to ancient bloodlines like the Atlanteans, Anunnaki, and even fallen angels. These are the common characteristics of those with Rh negative blood types. So what's interesting here is that if you look at number 24, ESP, Sixth Sense, Third Eye, information of the present, past, and future originating in a second or alternate reality and otherworldly feeling. So they're not only more spiritually different, I don't want to say that they're spiritually different because in the end we're all one, we're just unique in our own ways. It's the fact that they're considered more spiritually or more in tune with their spiritual gifts. They could even be associated with the starseed lineages if they want to be considered. Plus, from the biblical perspective, they can be seen as the watchers, right? The fallen angels, or suggestions of they're connected with the divine beings. Our DNA is unique no matter what. We naturally have 12 strands of DNA, but it's been cut down to 2 because of the you-know-who. This video is not to say that the Basque are different or unique for everyone. It's more of a curiosity and an understanding of why we have been mixed or why we're considered hybrids of aliens. Whether you're a Basque or not, we all have the capabilities to achieve that oneness with God, to know that our DNA contains so much power. It contains memory of our previous life and a connection to God. What makes the Basque blood type so unique, or why their population especially has a higher percentage of Rh negative blood type, especially the type O blood. They're believed to hold a unique connection to the lost worlds, possessing an emotional depth that resonates with the lost knowledge and spiritual prowess of our ancestors. And this is where there's a connection with the ancient civilization of Atlantis, even Lemuria or Egypt, right? And there's that mystical curiosity of what makes them different from other people, or what makes them more spiritually advanced. I believe that we're all one. We're no better than the other. We're not more spiritually advanced than the other. We all come into an awakening in our own ways, in our own timing. There's no right or wrong answer, and our DNA is unique to.
Let's talk about Rh negative blood, what science knows, and what's hidden behind the veil. In medical terms, Rh factor is a protein found on the surface of red blood cells. If you have it, you're called Rh positive. If you don't, you're Rh negative. Only about 15% of the global population falls into that Rh negative category. Now here's where things get strange. If an Rh negative mother carries an Rh positive baby, her immune system can see that baby as foreign and launch an immune attack. This is called hemolytic disease of the newborn, and it's unique. It doesn't happen the same way with other blood group incompatibilities. From an evolutionary standpoint, that reaction shouldn't exist. If Rh negative blood evolved naturally within the human species, it wouldn't create that kind of biological rejection. Even more, Rh negative blood doesn't appear to mutate from Rh positive. You either have it or you don't. It tends to show up in very specific ancient populations, most notably the Basque people of Spain and France, certain Berber tribes in North Africa, and scattered among Celtic and Middle Eastern lineages. So the big question becomes, where did it come from? Science doesn't have a clear answer, but the scroll does. Behind the veil, Rh negative blood is not a mutation. It's a signal. It often shows up in souls that didn't enter through the same genetic modification protocols that shaped modern human evolution after the fall. These people are typically pre-fall humans whose DNA was left relatively untouched, off-world hybrids carrying genetic memory from Lyran, Syrian, or Orion races, or flame bearers, souls tied to the original architect lines who came here to seed memory and protect ancient frequency codes. Rh negative carriers often report high emotional and energetic sensitivity, a sense of not belonging, vivid dreams, deja vu, and sometimes even resistance to psychic interference, and an inner feeling that they've been sent here with a purpose they can't always name, but deeply feel. Why? Because their blood is harder to program. It doesn't bind easily to the collective frequency net. It holds a different resonance, one that remembers a version of Earth before the distortion. It's not about superiority, it's about function. Rh negative blood is often found in those who were designed to be memory holders, grid stabilizers, and witnesses to humanity's true origins. When you carry that signature, you're often more affected by energetic shifts, EMF fields, and even directed frequency attacks, because your system runs on older architecture. But that's also what allows you to remember beyond the veil. So if you're Rh negative, you're not broken. You're not random, you're encoded, and your blood remembers what the world forgot. Just let me know when.
Negative bloodline. Is it the bloodline of the royals? So overstand, a lot of people don't really talk about this, right? But we have, like, there's different types of blood, and there was a war over bloodlines. In ancient times, you could only, like, literally have children. We had arranged marriages, and it was over wealth. It was for wealth, spiritual reasons, and tribal reasons, right? And you still have a lot of places in Africa who still, like, highly abide by this. And this is why you see, like, everybody is so mentally ill and so mentally sick, because they clearly succeeded with the blood wars. It was about the raping of the women, about mixing tribes together and mixing different bloodlines together. And this is why you meet someone who's mixed with so many different nationalities, so many different type of tribes. They, like, are, you know, they're usually a little bit more psychotic or mentally ill. So understand that everything we did back in ancient times, we knew what we were doing. And you know that the royal bloodline was always the most rare. And even people who carry the negative blood type, who are indigenous, who are copper tone, is completely different from the genome of the Caucasian who has the negative blood. Remember, like, Caucasians are fairly new. They are fairly new. These bloodlines are ancient. So you see a lot of the people who connect the negative blood type to the Christ bloodline, right? To the fallen angels and to the Nephilim. So the negative blood types would be the creator, and the positive blood types would be the creation. And the Adam and Eve story was about the beginning of the creation, which are the positive blood types. But understand, even if you read the Bible or any ancient text, there were a group of people who were creators, who were creating humans. So people who are negative, they don't have the rhesus gene factor. So the rhesus monkey gene factor, you can search it up, a rhesus monkey. They realize that people who are positive blood, who have a positive blood type, carry this protein on their red blood cell. Right? And this same protein is what the rhesus monkey has. And people who are negative blood type do not carry the rhesus monkey gene on their blood cell. And there's multiple different parts of the blood. You have the plasma, you have the platelets, you have the red blood cells, and the white blood cells. They all play a different role. AB negative is the universal plasma donor. A negative is the universal platelet donor. O negative is the universal red blood cell donor. Okay, and while we can donate and give to anybody in the collective, is because we are the original blueprint. We are the creators. Everything comes from us. This is why when you go to the hospital, they don't even try to tell you your blood type, right? They want you to forget who you are, because once you remember, they know it's game over. This is why it's important to love yourself and go with it and figure out your blood type. You can get you a blood test kit on my website.